Well, folks, we're going to cut into some of the Islamic violence that has been growing in Europe and the struggle that Europeans are having with the uncontrolled immigration of Muslims that have been pouring into Europe for the last 7-8 decades. If not heard already, there was an attack by a bunch of Dutch people there. We had an incident where Israel, one of their soccer teams, was playing in the European League, and they had a team playing over in the Netherlands. And after the game, 50, 60 Dutch youths ganged up on a bunch of the Jewish sports fans who traveled over, who flew over for the game to support their team, and they were viciously attacked in the streets of Holland. And many were quite seriously injured. There were numerous arrests, and the government has condemned very strongly the violence that was going on. So we're going to cut into some comments on some of this news and things that have been growing in Europe. We've been seeing a lot of issues in England as well, developing over the summer. Those issues have kind of faded away a little bit, but it's not over. Situations are still pretty raw. I want to bring attention to our listeners, a couple of things before we get into all this there. Number one, we're still in our fundraising appeal. This is our last week to try to reach our goals. We're trying to raise $12,000 cash so that we can take our radio broadcast into a new radio market. We've been invited by Wilkins Radio Network to join them. And so we have to raise $12,000 cash, and also we have to raise another $12,000 in monthly support. We're still falling short of our goals. We're getting close, but we're not there yet. Would you consider making a call and helping us with a donation today? We'd be very grateful if you could help us to reach our goal. We're about $2,000 or $3,000 shy of our goal for our cash goal. But it's our monthly support that we're really struggling in hitting. And if you supported us at $83.33 a month for the next 12 months, that would make a tremendous difference. That would be $1,000. Technically, we were trying to raise $12,000. So if we had 12 people who said, hey, I can do $83.33, say, well, I can't do that, but I can do $44.33, that would be $500. That'd be half of that there, or whatever amount you could give. It would help us to be able to reach our goals, to be able to afford to make this transition and join some of the stations on this network. It would give us potentially 13 million listeners. That's big. That is really, really big. These stations are in big cities: Philadelphia, Indianapolis, Kansas City, and some of these cities have very large Muslim populations, and they're a good target for our program. And so at the end of the broadcast, I'll give you a number to call, but let me give it to you now just in case you happen to have a pen and paper in your hand. 800-616-0082. That's 800-616-0082. And secondly, we have now finally launched our channel on YouTube. I don't have the staff to do this, so I'm doing it by myself. And finally found some software that I think I can use and make my videos the way I want to make them. And they're not quite fully the way I want them, but the content that I think we're putting out there on YouTube will be powerful. And if you want to go to our YouTube page, we'd be grateful. And also, if you do go, and there's a lot of stuff I'm posting there that I'm not covering on the radio, you would help us tremendously simply by subscribing. Clicking that subscribe button there. If we get us 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours watched there, it launches our channel into a new realm of Facebook that makes us legitimate. And Facebook will start paying attention to promoting our channel and getting listeners and subscribers to it. So it's simply just look for us there, YouTube at youtube.com, I think it is there, at Fortress of Faith. Or search for me, Fortress of Faith, with my name, Tom Wallace. There's a few other channels using the name Fortress of Faith. All right, let's take a look at what's going on in the Netherlands. Now, one of the leaders of their political party is Geert Wilders. I've been familiar with Geert Wilders since 2008. He created a short 17-minute video called Fitna. And that was released back in 2008. And here was a politician concerned about the number of Muslims that were coming into their country and their agitation that they were creating back then, and felt, hey, listen, when immigrants come into our country, that's fine. We're okay with immigrants as long as they assimilate. But when they start agitating and dictating that we conform to them, we've got problems. And back then we were seeing the rise of Islamic terrorism internationally. 7 years earlier, we saw 9/11 here. Then in Europe, they had the bombings of July the 7th there in London, then in Madrid, in Spain, and most of Europe was alight with alarm with what was going on with terrorism and Muslims. And he produced this video, and the video was just simply quoting from the Quran. That's all he did in this video. They quoted verses out of the Quran that was horrifying and justifying the call of jihad and the killing of the non-believers, and he was just exposing it. Well, instead of saying, hey, you know what? He's got a point here. This ideology is dangerous. No. Instead of agreeing that there should be concern about the teachings of Islam and the practice of Islam in their countries, they went after him. And my goodness, he went through the ringer. They not only through political attempts to try to remove him from government and sanction him, he went through legal fights, as did others who were taking a stand, and they tried to beat him down. But thankfully, he didn't cower. He didn't give up because he had truth on his side, and he knew he was right, and he had fought and retained his position in their parliament, in their political system. Well, now his party is the leader of the country. They have grown because of the mistakes of all the liberals and all the would-bes that think that it's okay. You know, you're a racist if you're against these type of people that coming into your country and them, you know, laying out their religion here. You know, you are a bigot and all that kind of stuff there. Then they started feeling the pain and the problems with all that. And all of Europe is wreathing over this. They are just hurting. And most of London, not London alone, but England was, you know, the streets and struggles of this last summer has been on fire because they're going through it over there, of this conflict with Muslims, and the way of British life is being challenged, and violence and murder and killing of British people by Muslims, and they've had enough. And that's the concern, is that this one day anger is going to boil over, and I fear what might happen, because we need to have level, minds on this. But anger is growing, and this event that happened here in the streets of the Netherlands and the killing, well, not the killing, but the, gang mentality and attacking these Jews there. Well, we need to learn from these lessons. We need to realize that this is coming our way. And I've been warning you about this. I grew up as a missionary kid in England and labored over there. It's 29 years of my life over there. And I heard from my Muslim friends over there telling me that all Sharia law is coming to Britain. You're going to have, Sharia law here. And I would tell them, it ain't going to happen. Take a pill, dreamy thinking, but it won't happen. Folks, I was wrong. I don't think I was naive. I just was ignorant. I did not understand then, back in 2008, what was really going on behind the scenes and the agenda that was there, even amongst the British Muslims. And I was seeing, and here's what happened. September 14, 2008, I remember it well. That's the day that everything changed for me. That's when my ministry changed. That's when I was launched into what I do today. Because on September 14, 2008, it came out in the Times newspaper, the London Times, front page, 7 Sharia courts opening with the government's backing. And the article listed the cities, in the cities that you would expect: London, Birmingham, Manchester, Cardiff, so on there. Big cities, big populations. Then the last one, the 7th city, was Nuneaton. Now, if you ask most people, where's Nuneaton? The Brits would say, well, I've heard of it, but most couldn't tell you where it is. I could. That was my home. That's where I was living. And so Nuneaton was listed of the 7 Sharia courts were opening there, and Nuneaton was the headquarters for all the Sharia courts. The headquarters was in my town. I knew exactly where it was. I accidentally pulled into this place there and realized, oh my goodness, this is a Muslim school. This is a Muslim center of some kind. I was trying to find reverse to get out of there. My wife was with me, and I knew exactly where it was once it was announced. And I had a lot of Muslims in my community, and that's why I started learning about this and dealing with this earlier on in my life, because we had a very large community. But I didn't know I was living in the nerve center of Islam in Britain. And I began to realize there's an agenda here, and it's real. And they're not here just to live. They're here to bring Islam and bring us to submit to it as they grow. And they're establishing themselves. And it's happening here in North America, and in Canada. And we need to resist it. But there's a right way and a wrong way. Many have done it the wrong way, and it's not worked well. We as Christians need to be better informed and take a stand. Well, that's going to be it for today. Let me give you, again, that phone number. Would you help us to not only stay on the air, but grow? And the number to call is 800-616-0082. Again, that's 1-800-616-0082. Join us again tomorrow at the corner of Truth and Courage. God bless you.